If I'm gonna build a company, I'm not gonna go build a small business. I'm gonna just go build a startup.
Right.
Like I could have a $10 million business. I could also have a $100 million business.
Right.
I think I would prefer the $100 million company, right? Right. So it's just, it's doing everything big, man, and really stepping into that and owning that, and they're really not caring about how that makes people around you feel. No matter how it makes them feel. Like you gotta own you and walk into that confidently.
Well, it's the big show. The Black Idea Guy podcast is a new business and culture platform created to serve as a compass with the ultimate goal of helping talented, urbanly influenced creatives get potentially disruptive, new ideas, thinking, and perspectives off the ground, out and into the world. Acronymed as the Big Show, we hope that this unfiltered exchange will leave you with realized game, new perspective, inspiration, critical insights, and ideas that drive results. The Black Idea Guy pod comes firsthand from a former athlete turned innovator and a potentialite, creative and entrepreneurial marketing mastermind, the Black Idea Guy himself, Meg Allen Brown, and a range of guest features with powerful insights within their own right. So Ty, I'm with Ty Griff. Like Ty Griff, Tyreek Griff, like
whatever you wanna.
Griff, like
yeah, it's Big Griff on Twitter now.
Big Griff, like yo, I'm the first person on air I think to say that.
To say what?
To say this, like to introduce you. I'm your first like interview. And I'm gassed,
bro.
yo. I'm gassed, like yo, this is lit. This is lit.
What can I say, man? I be in the shell, but I be working, bro. I be working, man. But if I was gonna do anything, I had to do this first. The big pod. Yeah. Yeah. We gonna get into the drop. Yo, I definitely want to get into the drop, man.
Yes.
The big make drop.
So I want to start this podcast off like this because we're gonna like, I feel like I have this tribe. I have a people that appreciate what we're building, and they appreciate the perspective and the insight of the people that I welcome onto this platform. And me welcoming you onto this platform is like, I think like it says something really like, because you're doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of things, right? So I'm going to start off by asking, what are you making?
Yeah. I need it one more time. Right. Yeah. Right.
Yo, please feel free. This is communal space.
Can I get crazy on the drop too? Okay.
This is communal space.
Okay.
Please go crazy. Go crazy.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
Hold up. Yeah.
Yo, yes. All right, yo, what are you making,
We got to get
bro?
into the drop.
What are you making, man? What are you making?
Yo, right now, bro.
And this ain't a humble space. This isn't a humble.
This is not a humble space.
This is not a humble territory. This isn't humble territory.
Okay.
Like this ain't that.
Because you know me, man. I gotta lean
we have to
towards being
define what a
humble.
Black Idea Guy is, right? And I don't think a Black Idea Guy has to like maintain this super low key humble. It's like at least on this platform, this is talk it. They need to hear it, bro.
Nah, I feel it.
You feel me?
Yo, right now I'm making 3 things in particular. So I don't want to really say my first love, but one of the first legitimate, functioning, profitable businesses that I've had is in real estate. And yeah, it's just I got a real estate development company, and we crushing it right now, and that's my baby, bro. That's my baby, and it's doing so well. And the crazy thing is, I've seen a lot of people do or try to do real estate, but it's all cookie cutter, right? Like people approach things in a way that it kind of like looks like everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I like about real estate is you get maximum creativity. And for me, it scratches a lot of different itches. It scratches the itch of creativity, finance, like a lot of different things. And so, I mean, we doing everything. We doing, green spaces, smart cities. I'm trying to get into smart homes, like everything.
So so you're gonna introduce us to this the right way. What is the brand attached to what you're talking about right now? Tell us about that the brand that is that is pushing this.
Right. So the brand is called Sprout.
Gotcha.
Sprout.dev.
So we can attach ourselves to Sprout.
Yeah, Sprout.dev on Instagram.
Sprout.dev.
But the full company name is Sprout. Yeah. Let's do it. The full company name is Sprout Development.
Fire.
And
why Sprout?
I just feel like, things kind of, especially in real estate, if you're doing development, things sprout up, right? So you take a vacant lot, and you turn it into a 20-unit residential facility, or you take a vacant lot and you turn it into a cannabis grow house, right? Everything comes from somewhere, so it's all sprouting up.
That's gangster.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough.
That's how you do it.
It's
like that's I love a good brand.
right. I know you do.
I love me a good brand. You do. Yo, that's I love that.
Yeah, bro.
Very in line.
Yeah, and also just focused on like the green space, right? Sustainability.
You've always been talking about stuff like that, though.
Of course, bro.
Like people got to know. Okay, so like I know this guy. Like this is like a really good friend of mine, and like you've always been sort of like futuristic.
Yeah.
Very futurist.
Yeah.
Into how you take traditional wealth generating assets and like build them into technologically advanced ways of expressions. And like you're a black dude in tech.
Right.
You know what I mean? On the Black Idea Guy pod.
Let's do it.
And like,
let's do it. I knew the drop was coming.
You know what's coming. Hey, please, this is common space. Go crazy. Yo. So you're a black guy, you're a Black Idea Guy, black in tech, and you're in real estate. But you also like, I got to, for the audience that'll be watching this, they would know to appreciate like, yo, this is one of the owners of Brown Box.
True that.
Word up, like for the culture. Like that's what I think, like, because you vibrate on many levels, right? You vibrate on like you've done the Silicon Valley experience, and you know what world is like in the atmosphere where tech happens.
Yeah. Right.
But then also come back to where we know you to be originated from, in Jersey. Yeah. And like you're building a cultural hub, and you're supplying like just a vibe, right?
Yo, it's
and people don't know you though. Like,
right.
People don't. You fly.
Don't. Yeah, I'm under the radar.
They don't know you.
Yeah, it's really vision, bro. I mean, my co-founder at Brown Box, Maz, she always says that I want to be in the shadows, and it's not really that I want to be in the shadows, bro. But I just feel like, the recognition will come. It'll come over time, and if you do the work,
you got to do the work.
You got to do the work.
That's
right?
a common thing on this pod. Every guest, you got to do the work.
You had Pat the Plug up here, man, and there was a clip that I saw where he was like, I was always a hard worker, but I just didn't do the work. I didn't do the work, man. You gotta do the work. And the crazy thing is, if you do the work, the recognition will come. Yep. By default. So, I never want to put myself out in the front, of the camera and say, hey, look, this is all the things that I'm doing. But if the things that I'm doing are impactful, then
they're remarkable.
I should get the recognition, right? Yep. So, and it's all timing, bro. But definitely, I feel like a lot of it is about vision too. Like I always kind of growing up, I looked up to like, Elon Musk and, Jay and like a lot of guys who redefine how things are in the present moment. And when you look up to people like that and you want to embody those characteristics, then you start to force yourself to rethink the things around you.
But that's like a major, that's a wide gamut you just pulled from to talk about people that you were influenced by, like cultural influences, right? You went from Elon Musk to Jay-Z.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, where do you fall? Are you the culmination of those
both.
Two individuals coming together?
Yeah, we talking about big culture and big tech, right? Jay is big culture and Elon is big tech, and hold on.
You gotta just stop yourself and just remind them, like, just sit up in your chair. Yeah, sit up in your chair at this point. Sit up in your chair.
It's about to get like that.
Go crazy. And I'm just blessed to be able to have you on the platform.
Yeah,
dude.
I appreciate you, bro. I've been watching you grow for years, bro.
Yeah, bro.
We gotta get into the talk, man. It's a long show. We gonna get into a lot.
Yeah, we here. We got a lot of time. We got 3 hours on this. We got time. Let's
do it. Let's do it. So yeah,
we don't even gotta go that long. Whatever.
We could if we wanted to.
Go, yeah.
Nah, definitely. Yeah. So big culture and big tech, bro. Really, just I never wanted to be a person that was so far from the culture that I didn't resonate or I couldn't resonate with things that were happening in the culture. And I also feel like maybe like later on in the show we should define what that means, like the culture, because that word is thrown around.
It's
a
loose.
lot. It's a very
For
loose,
the culture.
Yeah. It's like,
very
oh,
loose.
this is cultural, but like, what does that mean exactly, right? Do you just mean pop culture? Because that can mean a lot of different things.
Right.
But I think probably better defined. I never wanted to be too far from my people, right? But I also wanted to be like, yo, look at all these other really cool things that we could do.
Yeah.
Right. Like I remember like we were on like Bitcoin and blockchain in 2013, 14, bro.
Very early.
This is
very,
early.
This
is 8 years ago, right? Before, most people were even talking about these things, right? I remember we were sitting around, me, you and Dave. So
yo, it's eye opening though. When you live, 8, 9, 10 years past the point of where now people are hype about it.
Right.
It's interesting living as someone that experienced something 8 to 10 years previous to when the hype and when the media caught up.
Yeah.
It really shapes the next 10 years. You identify trends totally different when you experience missing a bubble or like not getting on or not hitching on to something when you knew.
Yeah.
Right? When you knew. But so the next time it come around, you're like, oh shit, blockchain? Oh nah.
Right. It's also
I know what that is.
I know what this is about to do, right?
Yeah.
It's also about being first and like accepting being first in anything. right. Because like
drop bombs on it.
When you're first, I feel like when you're first at anything, it's daunting because ain't nobody else there.
Prototype.
It's no prototype. There's nobody else there, right? So, and there's no model to kind of go off of, right? Like, we never seen this before. We never had this before. We've never done this before, right? And it's just like, you got to kind of chart your own path. And so when you're coming into ideas or concepts, right, that are new, it's just like, yo, like, what do I do with this?
But you gotta, at that point, you gotta accept that you're different.
That's a fact.
That's the thing about constantly putting yourself in the position of like being the first, a pioneer.
That's a fact.
Right? You gotta be able to cope, and you gotta be able to like really walk with that armor of being the one that people will look to for guidance. And like there is no looking up, side, left, like for the answers. It's on you.
Yeah.
Like making critical decisions is something I had to really grow to understand was a part of the path that I charted for myself.
Yeah.
Making those critical decisions and making the decision confidently and not reneging on it when it comes to dealing with multiple personalities.
Yeah.
That's the most, it's like, you got to make a critical decision, split decision, very stern decision.
Yeah.
For people to then grow to know that is the behavior which you come with. Like, so it's being first. It's like, yo, it's a gift. It's definitely not a curse. It's like something to adjust to, learn.
You also said something else though. You said being different, and I feel like it's hard for people to be comfortable being different. I mean, it might be a little bit more acceptable now, but I feel like, for me growing up, it was to be different was kind of weird. Like, oh, he weird because he different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because when you are different, for one, it takes a completely different type of self-confidence to be different. But also when you are different, you unlock levels that people around you just can't.
Right.
Because you're different and you see things differently.
Right.
Right. And
many times the people that bring a level of like distinguished like ability to a cluster of people, to a demographic or like to a county, a city, an area. Like they're creating, like they're the reason why people are like, yo, I never forget that day where da da da. It's like you creating these experiences, and like, yo, you got to just be okay with the innovation curve.
Right.
You got to know that everybody's not gonna be hip to something.
It's gonna take
away.
some time.
It takes time.
It's gonna take some time.
And you always said something that really resonated with me. It's like great ideas need to be massaged in.
They do.
You got to massage good ideas into people's hearts, and like. One thing I've really learned, I mean, just through the understanding of advertising is like tugging on emotional strings.
Yeah.
Like, it takes time to really build an attachment to something.
Yeah. It's crazy because, like, a lot of times I see ideas, and it's probably the same for you, but I see ideas that I had 10 years ago now in a different way.
Yeah.
My boy, it's crazy. One of my boys sent me, because I'm working on a new product, but one of my boys sent me something.
Always working on a new product. Always working on something new, bro.
But one of my boys sent me something. He was like, "Yo, look at this idea," and he was trying to he was making it synonymous to something else that we have been talking about. And I was like, yo, I had this idea 10 years ago. I was like, yo, this is Trove, aka ShareSue. This is that idea. This is micro loans given to you from your community. I was like, oh, this is my idea 10 years ago. The only thing that's different is somebody else massaged it a little bit more than we did.
Right.
And they got to a point that was like, yo, there's a market for this.
Yeah.
Right. And they stayed steady. So, I agree with you 100%. Like,
but the thing is, also too, to add to that point, right? Good ideas, they definitely need to be massaged, but the timing of them is everything, bro.
Timing is everything.
You attach if you attach the inkling of what could be great to the right moment in time, that thing is out of here.
Yeah, no, it's a rocket ship.
It becomes a rocket ship.
It's a rocket ship.
Yo,
we supposed to have an agenda, man. I don't want to get. Yo, bro, I feel like you're right.
We got literally. I'm following our agenda. We got a lot to talk about.
Okay.
We have a lot to talk about.
We got a lot to unpack.
We actually just packed up four of the topics, four of the many topics.
We didn't really get into it though.
We didn't really jump
into it.
Okay.
I want to get into it, man. I want to give. I really want to give the people, man, the people who watch the show. I want to give them something that they could leave with, man. Something valuable.
I mean, I think you do that intrinsically though. You do that even in the pattern of talking about things that may not be even on what we have as our line.
It's a fact.
Like you're doing that in everything that really leaves your mouth, bro. Like pause. Like
big pause.
But yo, I mean, okay. So I think people need to realize the origin of our relationship.
Okay.
Right? I think that's a good starting point, right?
Yeah.
I called you out, well, first
we hooped together. We hooped together.
I hooped with you. Like we hooped. And we still bum it a couple times.
Yeah, right. Once a week we try to bum it.
We try to bum it. Like we still go out there, but like I think one of the most things I want to highlight is the call that I gave you back in college. This was like 2012, 2013. And I was like at this point where we were talking earlier about like surrounding ourselves around people that like networking across, right? Being really good at networking across and like figuring out how to, if we can't get to the people that are where we want to be, how do we get around people that eventually will be in rooms where we want to be in? Like that was the thinking. And I was like, yo, 2 years ago when I was working at Banana Republic, I'm like, yo, fuck with Ty, yo. Like, Ty, that's my dude.
Yeah.
Like, and yo, when I reached out, you answered one way. And I was like, yo, Ty, what's good, bro? What's going on? I was like, yo, how are you, bro? And I never forget it to this day, bro. You was like, yo, I'm phenomenal, bro.
Yo, because I really was.
And I'm like, yo, this is how someone answers the phone.
Right. That's
going to be in the room of the people that I want to be around.
Yeah.
This is how someone communicates. Yeah. This is the type of energy I want to breathe.
Right. Big step of energy.
Like like you bring that should make it whoa.
Yeah. Right.
I'm phenomenal, dog.
Yeah.
Like I'm great.
Yeah.
Like so from that day on, bro, we've been best friends. Like
nah, for real.
Best of friends, confidants, just like bros, like and like that us getting here on this pod from that moment, literally, bro, I want to talk about a couple things, bro, because it's been hard to get you on platforms. Right. Like, yo, bro, you don't pod. You don't be on.
I don't do media, bro. I don't do media because I feel like media will come, bro, but you definitely have tried to get me on multiple
the social scene,
things, bro. Social scene. I was in the background watching.
You was in the back
cheerleading.
But at the same time, okay, but you're on social media though.
I am on social media.
You're on social media. I mean, you have a okay. So one thing, this is something I wanted to say. I wanted to make this show an interesting platform where I brought in people with sub 10,000 followers.
Okay.
Because many times the people that are doing the most have the least attention around them.
Well, that's definitely online. Me, sub 10K.
That's what I'm saying. Like I really want to bring people and I think that could be like an interesting niche that we sit in.
Yeah.
Our show's gonna have like a couple million followers on the gram, but like we're only bringing people on the show that are like budding, like not even budding, that are on, but just unknown.
Yeah.
On but unknown. That's
like
a whole
a lot
segment.
of times. That's really a whole segment.
But a lot of times,
I feel like a lot of times, like the real movers and shakers are often like on the low.
Super.
Because if you really doing things, then you don't always have the time to promote them. right? You don't always have the time to be in front of the camera to be telling people, hey, look what I'm doing, right? But if you really doing it,
Tell it.
right? If you really doing
Tell it.
like I know some dudes with 20, 30K on Insta and really not doing much. you know, and I know them. You know, we know each other, right?
You, bro.
I know you, bro. So it's just like, you know, but you know, here I am, and you know, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but you know, I'm doing everything that I'm doing. And you did say this is the big pod, so we could get into it.
Yo, this is not humble territory.
Right.
This ain't humble.
Right.
This ain't a humble space.
But I just feel like as far as media is concerned, like, you know, you got to be telling people what you're doing in order to cultivate an audience, right? It's really hard to Aliko Dangote, bro, is Africa's wealthiest man.
Very much.
Right.
Very much.
Nobody knows about him.
Yo,
I just saw EYL. They just finally did like a study on him.
Shout out to the EYL.
Right. Shout out to the big EYL.
Shout out
the
to
big boys at EYL.
Yeah.
But they just did it like I saw like a little case study, and I'm like, yo, we know about Aliko 10 years ago.
Fact.
Right.
Fact.
But he don't do no media.
Right.
Right.
When we was trying to get into the coffee business, we learned.
Right. We learned about Aliko. We was trying to do coffee.
Right.
You know, Wolf Global.
They don't 10 years ago.
Right.
Like,
so but no, we gotta just to stay on top. We got a long history, bro, with everything, you know, the call, you know, and everything after that. And I feel like we've both seen each other grow, you know, quite a bit. And we stay locked in, bro.
Yo, it's like I really appreciate you the most because you're like your critical feedback on the things that I can be a lot of times just like on go.
Yeah.
With a lot, my mind moves very, very quickly, and like my ideas, my means of expression, and the ways how I try to express are like get it out of my head.
Yeah.
Go do something. And you're always like let me wrangle you back to the central point. Let me anchor you to something like.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that because you. Over time, you have. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was a wild smoking gun when I was in college. I was doing. And
boy, you was walking around with envelopes, with an envelope around your neck.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
you was getting active.
Origin, like figure. I'm like, you know what? What's crazy is I was like, I can't code. I was like, I don't know how to really build something, but what can I do? I was like, I know how to bring people together.
Yeah.
What's the most? And then another thing was, I told myself like, if people know me as Al the Hooper, you know what I mean? Like this is way before Make, this is way before like make them say Al. Like as people know me as Al the Hooper, I have to change the way how they view me.
I got to rebrand myself
completely. I have to do something that's so incomplete opposite for them to see me as who I'm going to be. I have to start this upward trend now, and I have to let myself go completely of the identity of just a hooper. And I have to start becoming this new individual, which, luckily 10 years later, I'm sitting here today as like a representation of the last 10 years, building momentum and just constantly still building momentum on the person that makes it here to be.
Yeah.
So like in those moments, bro, like having you to just reel me in and seeing all these different ideas that were being pushed out, it's just critical, bro. Just having someone in your corner that can like, that really can like look into your lens, that's in this ocean with you, right? They're like, yo, bro, move your feet a little stronger, bro. You're not trying hard enough.
Right.
Like,
yo, paddle to the left a little bit.
Bro. Like, I see what you're doing and all, but like, you trying too hard. You're trying too hard.
Yeah.
So like, and you always been that like that individual in my corner that kept me real there. So.
Big make.
Yo, a lot of topics.
A lot of topics. I want to add to that, and it's crazy because I feel like that's really important, right? To have that sounding board.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times, especially as a creative, right? And it's a fine line. As a creative, I feel like there's a fine line between having ideas and having good ideas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Say it again.
And don't let that go over your head. There's a fine line between having ideas and having good ideas. Because a lot of times, the thing that separates an idea from a good idea is a small tweak. It's really a small tweak. And if you could have somebody you could sound these ideas off of, then it's easier to make that small tweak. Earlier, right? Because you might have a blind spot that you're not really seeing because maybe it's a new industry or maybe it's something you've never done before. So having somebody to say, yo, I like what you're doing, but I seen somebody else do something similar. and they did it this way.
Right.
So maybe if you make this small change,
Right.
your piece is gonna hit.
Right.
So it's just, that's important, bro. And I always wanted to be that for you, for other people, man. And I always wanted that for myself. I feel like, the biggest problem that I've had is that, when you a big thinker and you're not really, I mean, we from Jersey, right? Like I'm originally from New York, but we moved to Jersey, grew up in Jersey. And I feel like the community's a little bit different here. But when you don't live in a space that's dedicated to existing in the future, and we spoke about this a couple weeks ago, it's really hard to find people to sound ideas off of.
Right.
Like we was talking about, bro, Trove in 20, I feel like 13, 14. And I would talk to people. I remember meeting up with people, investors and all of that. Like, yo, I got an idea. Yo, I'm like, microloans.
Right.
Originated from a community, interest free.
Right.
They're like, what?
Right.
They're like, what do you mean? I'm
Right.
like, yo, you never heard of Susus? It happens everywhere in the world. They just not digitized. Everywhere, literally in all third world countries, people give each other money via something called Susus. But
and Tandas.
right, yeah, stuff like that. I'm like, yo, we could do this. We could just digitize. And they're like, yo, I don't understand. I'm just like, right. But if I had somebody who could have maybe said, yo, you can make this small tweak, you might have something.
Right.
Shit might have been a little bit different.
Right.
So yeah, I just wanted to always be that for people, bro. And
well, the thing is, though, the reason why I value your perspective on being a sounding board and like you have experienced sort of like the highest level of like ideation,
sure,
and like sort of the highest level of development of company, and because the startup company is a different kind of company.
It's a different beast.
What can you define the difference between a small business and a startup?
So a startup is a really big business that's just small right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like a lot of people they can't make that differentiation. Usually startups are, when you think about a startup, when you think about an Uber, the Ubers of the world, right? In 5 years, Uber had a $50 billion valuation, but at one point they started off with one user, right? So like startups typically are companies that are designed to grow really fast. They're typically new ideas or a spin on an old idea. They usually have really, really big markets. And they should be companies that have the potential to be really, really big, but they're just small right now, so that you're starting up basically.
Okay.
There's a couple other differentiators, but
so do people think is startups sort of like just a sexy buzzword too? Like people just throw startups on companies, and do people in the tech community be like, yo, that's not a startup? Like, why are you calling this a startup, bro?
We do.
Stop calling this shit a startup. This shit a startup.
Yeah. People also throw the name founder a lot on things, and I'd be like,
because founder.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of different definitions to founder, but I mean, a founder, as we know it, is typically a person who starts a startup company.
Yes.
Right. If you start a barbershop, you're not really
you're an owner.
You're an owner.
You're an owner.
You're a business owner.
You're
right.
owner.
You're not a founder. And that's key, right? So like the difference between a startup and a person who starts like a barbershop is a barbershop's growth potential is limited.
Big pod.
Big
pod. Black Idea got pod.
Big pod with Big Make, man, and Big Griff. We in it.
Big Griff.
We in it.
You feel me? Yo, bro, real talk, yo. Like, why do people take offense to like people talking this shit?
Yo, because it forces you to look in the mirror.
Yeah. I mean, people don't want to do that. Like, they don't understand the importance of like self-evaluation.
Yeah.
Self-assessment.
When you get around that energy, when you get around that big energy, it's like, damn.
It's like, damn, it's a fact.
You feel me? Facts. Like it's really like, yo, like I gotta force myself to look in the mirror, and it's self-evaluation, right? And it's the crazy thing is a lot of people don't realize that when you get around those kind of personalities, it's not intentional. Right, like I'm not intentionally trying to make you feel small. I'm not intentionally trying to make you feel like I'm not intentionally doing that to you.
Facts.
I'm just being me, and being me is big energy.
Big energy,
right?
Facts.
So it's like
facts.
It's consuming the room, and I know it. I know you feel it.
You'll walk into Brown Box Properties, bro. Like you'll walk into your
a couple
location.
Weeks ago, yeah.
Yo, this dude will walk in comfortable, casual.
Yeah.
During a decorated event.
Yeah.
This guy will be shorted up, leg sleeve, tat all
right,
out,
right.
with a pincher,
with a miniature
miniature pincher dog pup,
yeah.
just sitting in hand.
Yeah.
He'll just come in just pointing.
Yeah.
Just come in pointing. Like, yo, what's going on?
Right. But again, it's not.
Like the flex was just different. It's a different kind of flex, yo. It's big energy.
Different. It's big energy, bro.
Different energy.
Yeah. We gotta coin that. It's big energy, bro.
Like real talk.
It's big energy. And the thing is, again, like,
the thing is though, you're 6'6".
I'm also 6'6".
Like
so.
people forget about, like, that's the thing. I think that's another like side. Is like, yo, being like a boss that's above like 6 feet, 6'6". Like,
so it's big energy, and he's 6'6".
and like you gotta look up to this nigga.
Right.
You gotta look up to this nigga. It was big energy, and he looked down.
Yeah, and he looking down on me. So I really feel some kind of way now. Yeah, I'm feeling crazy, man. I feel like I might try. I want to try him now. Nah, it's crazy. It's crazy, bro. But yeah, man. I mean, I feel like just people. We gotta own our energy, man. You know, however it makes people feel uncomfortable or not, we gotta own it. It's crazy. I remember being like 15, 16, and my dad told me something that was crazy. He was like, "Yo, you gotta realize that, first of all, you got all the tools," and he was like, "You got big." He didn't call it big energy, but he was like, "You got an aura," and he was like, "What happens is when you have an aura is that people try to latch on, and they try to basically like draw the energy from you."
Yeah.
So he was like, you got to make sure you protect your aura and you protect your energy. And that's critical now for anybody doing anything. If you got that personality, if you got that mover and shaker in you, if you got that hustler in you, if you got, you walk into a room and you could maneuver a room,
right? You
got to protect that, because people will look at you and they'll envy you. And there's a difference between envy and jealousy. Envy will come from people that you know. Jealousy will come from people that you don't know. And you got to watch out for both. Because a lot of people think that only envy could hurt you, but jealousy could hurt you too. The person that you don't know could do you just as much harm as that person that you do know. So you really do got to protect your energy, man, and watch the things that's going on around you. But yeah, bro, you know the vibes, man. It's really, it's really about, doing everything big ultimately.
But the thing is though, okay, so like, a lot of what we consider as things that we've become numb to, like many times, one of the hardest things that I've learned, not to say hard, right? It was like one of the first things that I had to normalize was big numbers.
Yeah.
Normalizing big numbers. Like understanding that, like, of course, and I think that's a part of having big energy. Like the atmosphere and the ecosystem, the snow globe that you live in it's just swollen. Everything is just like, and it's just inflamed.
Yeah, a lot of,
it's like a world above the world.
It's a world above a world. Nah, really, and it's
real
crazy.
rap.
It's crazy, bro, because as human beings, it's almost like we've been taught. It's like strategically, like, I don't know, but we've been taught to think small, and it's crazy when you really think about it. Right? Like even the way we grow up, it's just like, all right, we're gonna get through K through 12, and then we're gonna go to college, and we're gonna get a single degree and a single skill and work a singular position and to live a singular life. Like, it's all one trick pony shit, right? And like when you look at the greatest people back in the day, they weren't one trick ponies. Like I Wikipedia people all the time, and it's like, oh, engineer, mathematician, architect, chef. Right. It's just like, how do you find time to cook too? Like, right? Nobody was really one trick ponies. But now, because we've specialized over the years, you got all these one trick ponies, and so we always thinking small. And my whole thing is just like, we got to break out of that. Right. I talk to people. I remember talking to people like 6-7 years ago. I'm like, 70,000 a year sounds cool, but I'm like, how about 70,000 a month? Right, you could make 70,000 a year. That's cool. You could make 80 to 85. Let's say you make $100,000 a year. You think you're doing something cool? How about make that in a month? Yeah. And they're like, what the hell? Right. It's like, it's a way, bro. It's a way. But you just gotta unlock it. Now, it look a little bit different than the route you taking. You might can't be an RN. You might can't be a nurse. Right. You might have to do something a little bit different. Right. You might not be able to do that. But it's definitely possible. You just got to unlock it. And it's crazy because, again, talking to people in those kind of ways, it don't always resonate. And it makes you seem like, I don't know, you trying to get one up on them, or you think you too big or you larger than life. And it's not that, bro. It's just I see what you're doing.
Right.
You could do something a little bit different. You could do more, bro. And that's why I feel like we should kind of coin and define that big energy, because that's what that is, bro. It's just it's taking everything that's small and making it big, right? It's just like, yo, you could do that, but you could also do this. Right. I used to tell people all the time, I'm like, yo, if I'm gonna go to school, I could be a nurse, but why not just be a doctor?
Right. Why stop any shorter than what the goal was intended to be?
Right. Like, if I'm gonna build a company, I'm not gonna go build a small business. I'm gonna just go build a startup. Right. Like I could have a $10 million business. I could also have a $100 million business. Right. I think I will prefer the $100 million company. Right. Right. So it's just, it's doing everything big, man, and really stepping into that and owning that, and they're really not caring about how that makes people around you feel. No matter how it makes them feel. Like you gotta own you and walk into that confidently. So we can be the person that we want to be in full without worrying about what our employer is gonna think about, what we post on social media or what we say. Right. I mean, we still gotta answer to the culture, right? To the community. So I mean that's still important. But ultimately, we kind of create what we want without answering to anybody. I mean, I feel like a lot of times people get slack for like, having a job. Right. Like I want to touch on that too. Like people get slack. Like I feel like there's so much entrepreneur porn in the culture right now. It's like, be an entrepreneur. Right. And a lot of people don't realize that's grueling work. Like I don't. Right. Like I talk to people all the time. It's like, I want to own a business. Or I want to build a startup. I want to do this. And I'm like, that sounds great, bro. But it's grueling, and it's bigger than the money. Like one of the things about me is that. Yeah, it's bigger than the cash. You feel me? Like one of the things about me is I realized, like, I think I really realized I was an entrepreneur when I realized there was no amount of money that could keep me from doing what I was going to do. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I was let's get it. Like, let's get big energy. Right? Like I remember engineering. Like, I was an engineer. I remember engineering at Colgate, and like, I did like a thought experiment. I was like, because all my friends were applying to Google, Twitter, et cetera, and I had interviews too. And I was like, if I get a gig at Google or Twitter, and they offer me, $200, $220, as an engineer, what does that look like for me? Do I ever get to a point where I stop caring about, doing other things, right? Being an entrepreneur? Do I stop getting ideas? Do I stop being creative? And I realized that it wasn't. Like, it wouldn't have stopped that. Like, I would have been working at Twitter as an engineer, but I also would have still been trying to build my own things on the side. And I also would have been still thinking about how Twitter worked as a whole company, not just how the engineering department worked. Right. And for me, that was a sign that, like, you literally can't work, because all you really doing is just buying your own time. Like you wait, and you wasting your time. Like, so why wait?
So I was with you in the time span of when we were having these similar talks, right, about ownership, having your own time. And I think at this time was when you were sprouting the idea of Brown Box. Right. This was like 2 years ago. Yeah. Right. Some time. So,
but Sprout. So it's crazy because Sprout actually came before Brown Box. Yeah. Yeah. What was formerly GP, but that came before Brown Box. So like, that came just because I had a burning. Really, it was like I had a burning desire, and I had other ideas. I mean, Trove. Of course, we had so many ideas before I had the idea of what's now known as Sprout.
We had put Sharesu at the time into 43 North.
Yeah, we did.
Remember that?
Did.
Like,
yeah, Startup Incubator. Yeah,
Startup Incubator. Long time ago, bro.
I be trying to tell these dudes, I be trying to tell these new entrepreneurs, bro, and these new thought leaders. You feel me? I be trying to tell them, I'm like, I'm not new to this, right? Like, we're not new to this. A lot of people had one idea or one vision for themselves, and then that changed recently. But I had the same vision 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I was 15 years old, drumming up businesses, right? I was getting firecrackers wholesale and retailing them. Like, I had businesses. I had the entrepreneurial mindset, right? Like, even before I had all the tools, right? So like, I be just trying to tell dudes, I'm like, like, I see what you're doing, but a lot of times when I give advice, I'm like, I'm giving you this advice because I see what you're doing, but I was there 10 years ago. Like, I know you see what I'm doing and it looks new, but it's not. It's not. I had plenty of these visions and ideas on what the things that I wanted to see in the world, the things that we wanted to build.
I wanna. This brings me to a topic that we had on our list outline: ideas that didn't work.
Ideas that didn't work.
Right. You got to talk about these ideas.
Right.
And I don't find many platforms that do talk about these ideas. Yeah. Before I talk about ideas that didn't work, I want to shout out also my homie Big Fritz Von Sharif pulled up Zion Studios. Another entrepreneur, another black idea guy. His episode is coming in a week or some change or whenever we get to it.
Yeah, whenever it's out of production.
It's yes. So we'll be getting that going. But ideas that didn't work, man. It's many times we only hear about the ideas. We only hear about ideas when it's when it's favorable results.
Yeah.
Right. We don't really hear about the ones that didn't work.
Yeah.
Right?
I said that in the past. There should be a podcast on failures because there ain't.
Right.
Like I want to hear. We hear all the success stories, but we don't really. There's no platform that talks about all the things that fail.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be learned from that, right? There's a ton of knowledge in learning why your startup didn't work, right? Than there is in learning why it did work.
Right.
Right. So ideas that did.
Like how many ideas do you think you've had in your career of just innovation and like fixing or problem solving? How many? I guess what problems did you think were bigger than they really were? That's a good question.
There's a couple. So the thing about me is that like I've had a lot of ideas. I don't want to say that I've executed on all of them.
Right.
So it's harder to evaluate all the ones that I thought were gonna work that ended up not working. Right. Like it's also because a lot of the ideas that I end up having be different. Yeah. Like I remember having an idea like when I was in college, I thought that I really just hated how the roads were after it snowed. Right. And I learned that like I could like melt like snow with like a wave in the electromagnetic spectrum. And so I was like, yo, what if I create a device that emits? It's different, bro. It's different.
You're different. Yo, for real. I've said to this guy before, like, you're probably the smartest person I know. And like, it's like when you pull down things of that, when you pull down like these random historical facts about stuff, and you pull down like astrophysical, metaphysical terms and like scientific, like everything in the physical spectrum and the gamut of the world. Like,
we could get into it. Let's get into it.
It's like, yo, that's what it is.
That shit is fire, right? I remember going to my physics, one of my physics professors, like, yo, I got this idea. Just let me know if it sounds like it could work. Like I want to take this EM wave, I want to emit it from a device. And I want the waves to be short range, but I want to use them to melt. Like instead of having to like shovel and like stuff like that, I want to use this device to just melt the snow in a certain area.
This the black idea guy. This the black idea guy. I hope they know. Like they know. Like
this is here. We talking about this
like,
here.
We're here. Like this is what. Like this couldn't be any more in sync. And any more in sync and any more in line. Yo, this is nuts.
And I really got it's crazy because I got the idea from just watching a microwave. Because, that's how microwaves work. They emit waves, and those waves agitate the water molecules, and that heats your food up. Mm-hmm. That's why a lot of times if you leave your food in the microwave without a cover, it dries out. Mm-hmm. Because the microwaves agitate the water molecules, and they literally, like, they evaporate from the food. So
why are you so into science?
Yo, because that's where the innovation happens, bro.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. And it's also, it's interesting, right? It's interesting, and it's, I always been a nerd, bro. Like I always been into stuff that everybody else wasn't into, and it's just like science.
A 6'6" nerd.
Yeah, I was a 6'6" nerd, bro. So it's unconventional, but it's just like.
But the thing is, many times, what also our community of black idea guys and black idea people, black idea guys and gals out there, they need to know is like, like nobody that comes on this platform is like a cornball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like none of the individuals as smart and as intellectually gifted and as astute and as like societally positioned as they are, like, it's like, nah, we all are of the sauce.
Yeah, and we gotta
we really are of the sauce.
Yeah, it happens. It can happen.
Like it can happen. Very much.
We also gotta change the narrative too, right? Like, we often think that, you can't be intellectually curious or be smart and also hoop. And also stand on couches. Like, I could do all of that.
Was Nipsey so polarizing in how he went about it, though? Because he was, like, out there with, like, the sag, you know what I'm saying? But, like, word to Nip. Nip inspired me. I cried when he passed. Like, OD, but like Nip was like the most polarizing visual figure that was intellectual.
Yeah.
So it's like, do we have to be super polarizing? Like it's like Derek Grace too. Shout out to homie Derek Grace too, right?
Yeah.
Tats all on his face, but
Right.
he's a super smart guy. Like it's like the ones that are, you know, sort of like polished, that are very smart. It's like, oh, we fly by the radar. We got to be OD visibly doing something different, and then speak the knowledge, or like we got to be dressed a certain way, wear the whole like temple like suit or something like that. Like nah, like
I feel like it's about connecting, right? Like we have as intellectuals, as creatives, as leaders of the culture, we gotta realize, what's the easiest way to connect with the people we want to connect with,
right?
But also while still being ourselves, right? And we also gotta redefine what it looks like to be, intellectually curious, but also be of the culture. Because I mean, we don't really got you just hit on it. We don't really have any examples. Like we use Nipsey, but like,
how many people can be Nipsey?
Right. How many people can be?
Really
how many people
Nipsey?
can be Big Hustle? Right. Like
Big Hustle.
Right.
Big Hustle.
Not that many. Right.
Right.
And I don't know if I want it. I also don't want to be Big Hustle. Right. I want to be me. I want to be Big Griff. Right. So it's just like, what ways can I connect with the people around me, the youth, right, that I care about, my people who I care about, and basically like, like I'm still of the culture, but like I'm going a little bit, a different way, and I want you to realize that it's dope shit over here, right?
The one thing that I feel that people will always respect and always love of anyone that is presenting something to contribute to the culture is game, right?
Yeah.
When you can receive game and like understand that you're being given game, and this person that's giving you this game don't gotta give you this kind of game.
Yeah.
Like you gotta respect that. And like a lot of these people that are pouring into their social media platforms to share knowledge about whatever they're doing, that's game that they don't gotta give.
Yeah.
Like, and many times, I mean, you could monetize that game because information is king.
Yeah.
Right? Having the access to the knowledge is king. And it's like, okay, so I was leading into that to basically say like, you're playing what a lot of people consider as the real game, right? With real estate, right? And like that's the many times I'll speak with older figures, mentors, like that's the real game.
Yeah.
Like some people say stocks is the real game. Some people will try to make the real game out of whatever their industry is, but like societally and historically, real estate has been the real game.
Yeah.
Real estate is a game that will be played from now till the end of the earth.
It really is, man. And it is.
In real estate, not just even in land, air and space.
Yeah, bro.
That's where
I tweet.
That's where it get. Ooh.
I tweeted something. It might have not have been on Twitter. It might have been on another platform. But I had said something a couple years ago. I was like, Sprout. I was like, the future of Sprout looks like space hotels. And somebody was like, what? And it's just like, I'm not thinking about and I just wanted to basically tell people like, I'm not thinking about real estate in the way y'all think about real estate.
Right.
Right. Like I'm gonna build, 3-family homes and the traditional, but I want to let you know that there's also a bigger picture, right? Like we can really define what the future looks like if we just take our respective industries and rethink them, right? So space hotels could be a thing if I wanted to be a thing and if I got the resources. So yeah, bro, real estate is definitely big time. I mean, real estate has created the most millionaires, I think, historically ever. Just because when you think about it, and I tweeted this actually a couple of weeks ago, I said that real estate is the most important consumer good behind food and water.
Right. And then you said something about subscription. Make that.
It really is, right? Like, and I said something. I said rent is the best subscription business in the world.
Yes.
Because it really is, right? And if you think about it, like most people, you eat and you drink, you drink water, but the most important thing after that is I need to be able to sleep at night. Yeah. And I need a structure to do that, right? So it's the most important consumer good. And so because of that, and not making any more of that, any more real estate, so that's important too. And so because of all of those factors, it's really important to do real estate in some capacity. Now, you don't got to do it in the way that I do it, right? I buy raw land, we build structures.
Build from ground
up. Right,
you
build ground up. We started off doing fix and flips like everybody else. There's different ways to invest in real estate. You also might not have the time that I have, right? I got my 9 and, through my 5, right? I can make my own decisions and, I got my days, right? So, you don't gotta become a developer, but you should have an interest in real estate, if you care about your financial well-being and financial, success, you should have some sort of exposure to real estate, because the values are just going to keep going up and there's a lot of opportunity, man. And I try to get people involved in various ways. I mean, I raise money consistently from people that want exposure to real estate to do projects, right? People continuously give me and my team, 20, 30, 40,000 to do projects. We pay out, we pay interest on that money, and we really try to do it with the culture. Honestly, like we network across, like we touched on this before, but that's why jobs are so important, right? That's why I don't bash jobs, because I'm not gonna do what you do, but you got 40K that you earned sitting. You got 40K sitting from your job that we could use for this real estate project, right? So we all kind of got our roles to play. We all got our lanes. But yeah, bro, getting real estate exposure is massive. I mean, we started, just to give the audience some key figures. I mean, we started with 30,000, right? That's all we had. Like we drummed up 30,000, me and my team, and we still turning that up. And it's well. I'm not gonna give exact numbers, but it's well over the 30,000 now in cash. Yeah. Right. We keep flipping, we keep buying lots and building. But
so what's been has there been reluctancy? Like, so what has been friction that you face in pursuing to grow that, right? To take you all's effort and then pooling your resources and then putting that into a pot, growing that. Like, I'm sure you've been in many different social circles that have wanted to do that, right? Yeah. Why have those things fallen by the wayside, or why don't those things happen more often, in your opinion?
With like more people?
Yeah.
Trust, execution, just the ability to execute, and staying focused, bro. Staying focused. It's people underrate how incredibly difficult it is to stay focused on any one thing, right? And then also the thing about me and you have spoken about this a bunch, but like, I'm a big proponent of group economics, right?
Yeah.
Like I've been preaching this for years, and it's crazy because group econ is really practiced all around us. People think it's like something that like the black community came up with because we don't got resources. Everything is group economics. A venture fund is group economics.
Yep.
You got a GP, a general partner, who raises money from limited partners, right? They each give him, let's say they're usually accredited investors, but they each give him, $250,000, $300,000. He raises this big ass fund. The fund is let's say, not even if it's a small fund, let's say it's a $30 million fund, but that's group economics. It's me getting a bunch of people who have a similar goal together to invest in a singular entity, and then me deploying that capital to startups that I care about. That's group econ. You feel me? That's practiced everywhere, bro. That's all around us. When you deposit your money into a savings account, and the bank uses all of the deposits to give out a loan, that's group economics, right? So like, we see that everywhere, we just don't practice it.
Right.
So the difference between me and a lot of other people is I put that in motion. I'm like, I see this everywhere. Let me go get a couple of my friends that I think that are upwardly mobile, smart, and that want to do business. Let me get them together. Let's have some conversations. Let's put up some bread and make some moves, right? So people look at me like they think I did something that's new or that's different. I didn't. I just did everything that I saw other communities really do, right? And I just executed it in the black community. So, I mean, that's the true difference, I think, between me and somebody else trying to do it. I didn't try to do it by myself. I did it with partners. I did it with my friends, ultimately. And you could do it with your friends too. Anybody could do it with their friends. But it's the trust.
Yep.
Right? It's the trust component.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot of ways to get around the trust, right? The trust can be established via contracts and legal, right? So it's just like, do we really got to trust each other, or do we just got to have all our I's dotted and our T's crossed, right? And if we can do that, then yeah, we could put up, 10, 15, 30, 20 bands each and make something happen.
Absolutely.
But, cats don't always want to do that. So.
I mean, I think I've seen enough. I've been a part of many groups that have tried to grow. We've been a part of groups.
Oh, how many times
we've been a part of groups,
like, bro?
Talk about like we've been a part of groups, and like, I mean, I just think that it just has to be an understanding of where each person that's coming together is at in their particular walk in life.
Exactly.
Because although the centralized ideas that are presented might be good,
right,
for the group as a core,
they might not be aligned with the individual.
Right.
And that's important. It's like, yo, I want to do this, but it's just like, that don't really fit into my big picture.
Right.
We all kind of got the same mindset, but you want to do something that I don't really see myself doing.
Right.
So I don't want to be involved in that.
Right.
Like when, we was talking about opening up a Red Robin.
Yo, bro, it was an Arby's.
Oh, it was an Arby's.
It was an Arby's. Oh, no, you know what? No. You know what? I have to correct. It was a Chick-fil-A.
Was it a Chick-fil-A?
It was a Chick-fil-A.
Oh, we looked at the franchise
I was
course,
calling
right?
it, yeah,
Right,
I was calling it Arby's, and I think you was calling it Red Robin's off the joke, but
Right. It
I
was
think it was a
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. But now, honestly, I mean, I'm shooting myself in the foot now that I think about what that would have taken and what that would have been about. But like, y'all wanted me to work there.
Right.
Y'all wanted me to like work there and manage it, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah,
Respect.
We wanted Big Make. And,
Y'all wanted Big Make.
We wanted Big Make
in the
as
apron
a general manager
and the red bow or whatever uniform you rocking. But I had Sundays off.
Right. Shout out to Chick-fil-A, man. They got the best fries.
Yo, what's crazy? What's crazy about that whole situation is like, it really showed, like working in these groups and figuring out what everybody really wanted to do. We all had a comment. Like a lot of these groups that I've been in, people just sort of suck you into these groups because they see what you're doing. They see like what you're doing and like they think they have an idea as to how you're going about these things, and they're like, hey, he'd be great on this in this group of people. Not understanding like, yo, like there's a method to your madness, and like how you're pursuing your shit ain't for everybody.
Yeah, that's like the engineering problem. Like when you go to school for engineering, comp sci in particular, and people learn that about you, they try to recruit you into like startups that you don't care about. It's just like, yo, I got this idea we could do. It's just like, yo, bro.
Yo, you cold.
Yeah, you cold, right? You a coder. I hate it. You a coder, right? All right, software.
I write software.
I write software.
Hold up, buddy.
Hold up, buddy.
Hold up, buddy.
You a coder, right? Yo, I could use you to write this code. It's just like,
yo, I got
I got this app idea. Right. It's the famous, yo, bro, you free? I got this app idea. And it's just like, 20 minutes into the conversation, you realize you've heard this app idea 17 other times. It's just like,
oh wait, hold up.
Right.
Is hearing like redundant app ideas worse than multi-level marketing?
It is. No, they're both equally as bad. I think the thing about multi-level marketing is that it's deceptive. See, app ideas ain't deceptive because it's an app idea,
right,
and it might be bad,
right,
but it's an app idea. And think about MLM is it's too deceptive. Like, yo, what you been up to lately? It's like, yo, I've been chilling, bro. It's just like, yo, I've been really meaning to talk to you, but I got this opportunity,
but I can't tell you.
I can't tell you until you meet me in person.
Yo, until you meet me in person.
And it's like, damn, bro, we can't talk over the phone. Nah, I need you to meet me at 333 Central Avenue.
I need to show you this opportunity.
Right. I need to show it to you, and please wear a suit.
Oh no! No! Oh no!
It's like,
oh no!
It's just like, damn, bro, I want to come, but I gotta wear a suit, and you can't tell me about it.
Yo, the funniest meme I've seen in regards to like MLM has been the little green rattlesnake. That be like looking at the green rattlesnake. That be looking like.
Yeah, this shit is crazy. MLM different level, bro. MLM, but yeah, app ideas, bro. I get.
Are
I
you
still
a coder?
Get yeah, you a coder?
You a coder?
Nah, bro.
The black ID, the black app guy.
Yeah, the black app guy. That's the guy that writes the code. Yo, I know a coder. Like, bro, oh my gosh.
Oh man, yo, but the thing about it is though, okay. So we talk about guys like
hold on one second. I know Bel Air is not sponsoring, but
Bel Air not sponsored. Hey man.
Hey,
yeah.
Soon come.
Soon come. Shout out to Bel Air, man. Shout out to Rick Ross.
Yeah, shout out to Big Rose.
Big Rose. Shout out to Big Rose for real. Like, I mean, he's definitely one of my cultural motivators. Yeah. How can you it's just like, yo, imagine if all of the people that identify as rappers were like techies, and we uplifted and like sort of like identified or like place such a high value of respect and influence on techies versus rappers.
Yeah, it's about owning the systems and not it's about the systems and not the labor, bro.
Yeah.
The systems, and I want people to realize that it's systems and not labor that really makes you wealthy. It's all in the systems, bro. And if you look at hip hop, historically, we've been focused on the labor, right? And the labor is in making music, right? But the system is in owning a label.
Right.
Right. The label is the system. The label is responsible for the marketing. The label is responsible for the artist development, finding the artists, cutting the checks. That's a system, right? And I could scale that much easier than making music, right? If I'm making music, the money that I make is a function of how much music I make.
Right.
Right? That's a linear system. If I only make so much music, I only make so much money. As a label, I could scale that up. I could have 100 artists. If they all crushing it, we could keep adding more artists. Let's keep going, right? So, I for us in our community, I always try to tell people, focus on the system and not the labor, right? You got to be a system designer. If you hyper focus on a component, that's the labor. But if you zoom out and you say, all right, I'm gonna put all the pieces together and I'm gonna fine tune the system and I'm gonna make the system. We talk about it all the time. I'm gonna set up I'm gonna turn it into a cash register.
Yep.
Right. All you got to do is set up the register and make sure the system is working, and then you could step back.
Right.
You could wake up in Santorini and know that the system is working.
All
you got to do is check on the system, right? Yep. But a lot of people don't approach making money that way, and that's the way I approach making money. Like I always, once I got to college, even before college, I was like, yo, there's actually a more interesting way to make money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I could just create a system.
Yeah.
And the system is responsible for generating money, not me as a person.
Right.
Right. But again, a lot of people, that concept falls to the wayside, and they just can't envision themselves designing systems because it's hard work. It's not easy.
And it's a whole mental shift.
It's a mental shift, bro.
Whole mental shift.
Yeah.
Like you have to understand that what you might have saw as consistent in one world, you have to look at completely different.
Right.
Because consistency in entrepreneurship looks like consistency and things that you rely on look different in entrepreneurship than what you do if you're working for an organization or institution, corporate, whatever. It's totally different. It's totally shifted.
But you got to have the juice though. Like you got the juice, right? Like Big Mate got the juice. Like every drop it.
Talk to it. Talk
everybody,
to it. Big Griff got the juice.
Right. Everybody, and really, and everybody don't got the juice, and it's important. It's important for us to recognize that in ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Like, yo, damn, I just don't got it.
Right.
Like, but, yo, there's an episode in Insecure. Somebody else was telling me this. I forget who was telling me this, but there's an episode of Insecure where I forgot the main one of the main characters that was dating Issa in the first and second season. But he was a coder. He was a coder.
He was a coder?
Yeah, he was a coder.
You can make me an app.
Yeah, he was a coder. And he was like, I remember he was trying to build the app. Mm-hmm. And then by the second season, he had a job. And somebody asked him yo, why'd you give that up? And he was like, yo, I really just want to work for somebody, yo. I really just want to work. I want to work on somebody else's thing. That's what I want to do. That's what I bring to the table. And I feel like we glorify entrepreneurship so much that we think that everybody got to be an entrepreneur. But I tweeted this a couple weeks ago. I'm like, yo, we don't need 1,000 Black entrepreneurs with no revenue. We need 3 solid founders that could build $100 million companies and 970 people that want to work for those 3 solid founders, obviously get some equitable portion of the business and make something shake.
Yeah, I can't wait to post this on Instagram, bro.
It's gonna be crazy, bro.
I can't wait to post that. That's nuts.
That's what we need, bro.
You're facts.
That's what we need. But we got
a lot of entrepreneurs.
It's a lot of entrepreneurs that got no rev. If you're and here's the thing, if you're an entrepreneur and you're doing $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year in revenue and top line revenue,
right?
You might want to think about going to do something else. Going to get down with somebody else's clique, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you're doing something and it is doing 40, 50, 60 a month.
Right.
You might have something, right? But don't get caught up in the idea of being an entrepreneur.
But let's put it in the context too. Like you work on startups.
Specifically, yeah.
Small business and startup.
It's different, but a small business could be a $10 million $10 million business could be a small business if the growth past that 10 million is limited, right? Like you could, let's say you sold microphones, right? Like
rolling.
Yeah.
All right, seek another audio point. $10 million business.
let's say you sold microphones. I mean, the market ain't that big. As you know, tomorrow are there going to be 5 million new people that want microphones? Probably not, right? So the upside potential is a little bit limited. But if it's a $10 million business, is that good? Right? Is that like every business don't got to be $100 million startup? In the startup world, it's like $100 million business or fail, right? Because there has to be an exit, right? Like when you got a startup, there got to be an exit. Like it has to be an exit because you take venture capital and venture has to exit, right? So if you're a venture investor and you invest in my company, your fund has to have an exit, meaning that your companies have to return that money eventually, right? So if I'm the company, how do I return that money? I got to IPO or I got to get acquired. So, in the startup world, it's that notion of like, if you don't go big, because also venture has to account for their losses. So they need a couple of really, really good bets to pay for all the losses, right? So they want that 10x, 15, 20x multiple, right? So, in my world, in the startup world, it's just like, if you don't got it, if your business isn't $100 million company, you ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
So that's different.
Yeah, that's harsh.
Hey, that's harsh.
That's harsh. Like,
but if you got a small business, if you doing, let's say you got 10 mil rev, what are we talking about? That's a good business, right? You're doing all right, right? You doing $400,000-500,000 a month. Facts. I think more than that. Yeah, you doing closer to 8, 8-9 a month, right? So it's just like, when you got that type of organization, think about all the things that you could do in your community, all the people you can hire, et cetera, right? So we don't all got to be focused on startups and all focused on being founders and doing this and doing that. We could also focus on small businesses, but I think the key is identifying what you have, right? Do you have a side hustle?
Right.
Or do you have a company?
Right.
Because there's a difference.
Right.
If you have a side business as a notary republic, the chances of that replacing your income isn't high, right? It's not high.
Right.
But if you got a legitimate company, right, where you like, I got revenue. We small right now, but we doing $30K a month and we growing. It's like, I might have something. All right, let me get my friends involved now. They can help me grow, right? That's different than saying, I'm doing this on the side, but I want to consider myself an entrepreneur. I want to quit my job. Nah, stay at your job, bro. Right. Stay. Right. Please stay. Stay for the insurance.
I want you to know that a lot of people listening to this are going to not understand when you're throwing these figures of these monthly figures.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. That's a fact.
30K is like someone's salary for the annual.
Yeah, no, I know. And some of my companies are $30K a month, and I snuff at it. I'm like, we ain't doing nothing.
You know what I'm saying? Like you look at these figures and you're like people don't understand making $30K monthly.
Right.
And that's and someone with your experience, they're like, nah, that's actually not doing.
Yeah, we actually not doing nothing.
Facts.
Yeah.
Like, did your YC experience shape you to understand things in that way? Was it YC? Well, one, you went to YC.
Yeah, I did. Shout out the big YC.
Yo, big YC. What's crazy is what's so crazy about you going to YC was that 3 years before you went to YC, I told you about the person that ended up mentoring your company.
YC, we won't say no names.
We're not gonna say no names. Yeah.
You did.
But it's crazy how
full circle, bro.
Full circle.
It's crazy how you had a relationship with that person and told me about. You told me about that person before I knew about that person. And then full circle, that person ended up mentoring, us.
Yeah, what y'all was doing.
Yeah, when we got to know YC. So
that's crazy. It's so crazy how the world
crazy,
works.
Bro. The world is nuts, but that's a testament to manifestation, bro. Like, if you could speak it into existence, and you already knew, bro. Like I was dying to be in that environment, right? So like
I knew, I knew. Real
having
talk.
That opportunity, man, was incredible. I think you were gonna ask me about how my YC experience shaped me. Yeah, bro. A lot of how I think about companies and how I think about like scale and the size of companies comes from YC because that's that culture. Like it's like, yo, you was here last week. Did you grow 20%? It's like, you expect me to grow 20% in a week, right? Like it's everything is due big. Like our mentors at YC, had your $1 billion exits, right?
Right.
That's
Right.
different.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, right?
Yeah, like
we talking about, we talking about, the business at the highest level, right?
Highest
The highest
level.
you can imagine,
Highest
right?
level.
Not small time. So, a lot of that, and on top of that, I was seeing people, younger than, way younger than, not way younger, but younger than me, who were on their second venture, which is a wake up call for me. Like, yo, damn, I'm working hard enough. Right. I remember specifically there was one dude. I'm again not gonna say no names, but like he had sold his first company. We were at a mixer, just kind of networking, chatting it up and drinking, and he had sold his first company to Coinbase, and he was working on his second company. I'm like, damn, and he was younger than me.
And he was younger.
He was younger. I was like, yo, am I working hard enough?
Yo, so is that the game to ultimately sell the company?
Well, you got to have an exit. Right, so as a startup, you need an exit. You have to IPO, or you gotta get acquired. But you gotta pay your investors back, right? How do you do that? Like most investors that put money into startups don't invest for dividends, right? They invest for that big payback. So you gotta have an exit. And so there is an acquisition or an IPO in your future, or ultimately a failure. And so, YC taught me a lot about that. Also, I think like one of the critical things that YC taught me is how to be comfortable in myself in all environments. I think I told you this story before. There was a time at YC where it's crazy. It's called Prototype Day, and basically what it is it's the almost like the pre-demo day where you pitch your company like in front of your peers before you pitch it in front of investors. And I remember going to Prototype Day, and I had I had shoes on, khakis, and like a sweater.
Right,
and like,
right.
I just felt like, I felt like that's how I had to dress for that event.
Right.
And so that's what the environment called for, right? Yeah. And so I remember getting a Prototype Day, and like we pitched, and the pitch didn't go excellent, right? So there was sort of that internal like moment for me where it's just like, damn, we could have did all these things better. But on top of that, I wasn't being myself.
You wasn't comfortable.
I wasn't comfortable, right? So it's a double whammy. It's this didn't go well. And on top of that, I got these fucking shoes on. right. Like I really want to take these shits off. Right. But it was what I felt like I was assimilating to the environment. And one of the things I learned after that experience is I was like, you know what? I don't care what happens, like fail, win, and anything in life. I'm gonna just be myself, because if I fail, at least I'm failing as myself.
Right.
If I fail as somebody else, I'm dying 1,000 deaths.
Right.
I'm dying. I'm dying because I'm failing, and I'm dying because I'm not being myself. So if anything, I'm gonna go up here. I'm gonna dress how I want to dress. I'm gonna be myself, and if it don't work, it don't work. Right. But at least I know it's not working because it's not working. Right? It ain't you. It ain't me. I'm being myself. Right? Yeah. You're gonna take it or leave it. Right? I'm not giving you a fake. You're not taking it because I'm giving you a fake me. You're taking it because what I'm giving you actually makes sense. Yep. Right? And you accept who I am as a person. And it's crazy because I forgot the founder of Play VS. Delane. Yeah. Shout out to Big Lane. Yeah. But he talks about that a lot. Like he's like, yo, I'm gonna be myself. Like I've heard him in multiple interviews and just talks where he's like, yo, I wear Balenciagas to the venture meeting. Right. He's like, yo, I wear triple S's to like what? Right. And like, what you gonna? And people have told me in the past, like, yo, you probably should dress this like for what? Right. You gonna accept me? Why does what I wear determine how you feel about? Listen, what I wear, what I got on, how I am is completely different than the opportunity I'm telling you about. Play VS is a $1 billion company. Right. I think it's a $1 billion company. It might be a unicorn, but let's say it's $100 million. Play VS is a $100 million company, right? Easily. You invested in that. Right. So this is a clear indication that I can execute, right? So
forget that I got triple S's on.
Right.
That shouldn't even be no concern to yo.
Right.
This is drip over here. Right. You worry about two different things.
Right.
You worry about the venture and the drip. You need to just be worried about the venture. Let the drip exist, independently, right?
Yep.
So for me, that was a big wake up call where I was just like, yo, I'm at the
it's
I'm
crazy.
on the biggest stage.
I realized when I actually got the time tap, I was in that headspace of like, well, one, I felt like I needed a breakthrough. I needed some sort of like ownership of like, yo, I'm the person that I say I am.
Right.
And I'm gonna be this person. I'm gonna like take my own life into my hands and figure out what is a commitment way that I can do that. It's like, yo, I want to be able to see the thing that I'm trying to maximize every day, right? My time. And like, real talk, like when I got this tattoo, it was like, I literally felt like I burned the ships. Like, felt like the ships had burned and I was literally...
no turning back.
It's no turning back. It's like, no, like, because I just knew that, I love, this is my favorite tattoo ever. I love this. I love this mark on me. I just know that people may not understand it if I'm in an environment where we all have to conform to someone else's like hierarchy system or like someone else's like company culture. Right. It's like, nah, like they're gonna, who's the guy in the break room with the time tag?
Right.
Like, who's the guy? Like, it just don't fit.
It don't fit.
But if I'm leading something and I'm able to work with people and I'm able to like inspire them through whatever these ideas are, it's like, oh shit, now it's like, oh damn, he's edgy enough, selfless enough, and he's like. And now I get praised for being as bold.
Right.
It's so crazy how that works.
Right, because you creating your own destiny.
I'm creating my own destiny.
And it's just like, yo, I don't care what you think. It's going to shake.
It's going to
shake. And guess what? I got a time tag.
I got a time tag on my hand.
Right. So
yes, I do.
Whatever it's going to be, it's going to be, and you got to accept that because I'm gonna eat regardless, and that's important, bro. But that's self confidence. A lot of people never get to, bro. A lot of people never get to, man, and they there's so much assimilation in our culture where we feel like we gotta tone down this or be this way to get accepted in spaces. And my whole thing is just like, yo, the crazy thing is if you just be yourself in the space, then eventually they gotta accept it.
They gotta accept it.
Or more importantly, we can just create our own spaces.
Yep.
We can just do that instead, right? Where all this is normalized, right? And so, yeah, bro, I remember when you got that tat, man, and I even me, because it's crazy. I hadn't gotten to that point yet. Right?
I hadn't gotten to that point
yet where I was like, I still thought that, like, yo, the way you got to play the game, you got to be a chameleon. So, like, you might have to maneuver certain ways in certain spaces. And I really get that from my dad because, my dad's a Wall Street dude. Like, so I grew up in corporate America. Shout out to Big Pops. So, I grew up in corporate America, but, like, and so there was some assimilation, right? There was some morphing that you had to do, right? You had to, speak a little bit more eloquently.
It was
right?
etiquette.
It's etiquette, right? So like certain things I just wasn't going to do because I'm like, damn, this might violate the etiquette protocols, right? So I remember when you got that tat, and I'm like, damn, on the hand. On the hand,
bro. Like it was
on the hand.
Yo,
like,
bro. Couple niggas hit me like, yo, word.
On the hand, bro.
Yeah, bro.
But you did it and you owned it. And you owned it. And I respected that about you because you're like, yo, no matter what, I'm gonna create my destiny. So I'm gonna do what I want and I'm gonna be myself.
Yeah.
And you could feel however you want to feel about that. But ultimately, this is me. And
I think that like in that moment where I was experiencing this change, because it felt like not only did I just now get a tattoo on my hand, but it had shown so many people around me like a level of like confidence that they might have not really seen from me or someone that they might have known closely as they knew me before.
Right.
So, and years later, when you see what the guy that got the hand tat is doing, then it's like, oh, okay, like, damn, I'm kind of inspired now to go do something to just take over my legacy and take over my destiny.
That's
like,
a fact. That's a fact. I got wealth tatted on my thigh, bro.
Hard.
And I tell people, I was like, yo. So one, don't think that I'm money hungry because I'm not. But wealth for me is like that's resistance for our culture, right? Because historically, we've been cut out of certain things, or we haven't been able to do certain things because, in my opinion, because of a lack of wealth. Mm-hmm. So
it's a reminder,
right? It's a reminder. Like wealth is really resistance, right? It's not about actually having money so you could fuck it off in a club or do dumb shit with it.
It's a cloak of armor.
It's a cloak of armor,
it's a
bro.
barrier.
It's a
barrier. It's a shield.
Right?
Yep.
It's a shield, bro. I wake up. I could today. I woke up today. Came here, but I could wake up on Wednesday at 1 p.m. if I wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because of my situation, right? Because that I've created my life in a way that says, yo, you on your time. Now, mind you, I still got to work hard, but ultimately you on your time, so you got a cloak of armor, right? And that's important for people. If you got, I forgot who said it, but they call it "fuck you money." They was just like, if you got "fuck you money," like you could walk into your employer one day, and if you feel like they're not treating you well, you could be like, "Yo, I'm done with this shit. I'm out, bro. Find somebody else,
right?
And I'm not giving you 2 weeks. You got one day. Out. Find a replacement, right? That's it, bro. Thanks. And that's what we need, bro. We need that sort of that unwavering confidence in our community to make it happen.
Did it take years to get to this point to where you are? Like, of course it took. Of course, time happened, but for where you are, and people got to realize too, like, although we have experienced things and we have won at different levels, we haven't arrived.
Yeah, we haven't arrived yet.
So what would you say? What would you say? Like, I have written down. Did it take years?
Yeah.
Right? Did it take years? Like, what did those years consist of?
It took long. It took a little bit longer for me. And people look at my life now and they're like, yo, like, it's great, but like everything that I got now and that I'm doing now, I wanted to be doing at 20. Right. So like, in my opinion, for me, it took years, but for most people, they're like, yo, nah, you good, bro. But like, the thing is, I had the same mindset at 20, but I didn't have, I don't want to say I didn't have the tools, but I didn't have the strategy. Like, I didn't know how to go about it. Right. Like, I didn't know how to take what I had and like the ideas that I had and like go from point A to point B.
Yo, right. It's crazy. I want to piggyback off this point because I was thinking the other day about how people most times think, like, even if we resorted to like money, right? People don't understand it's about using what you have versus what you think you like if someone has $1 million and someone has $5, the person with $5 could know how to be able to use that $5 more effectively than the person that has $1 million. Yeah. Real talk. And like it really don't matter how much you have. It's about using what you have. Yeah. Or what you got. And not just how much, but your life. Real talk. Like, it's about using what you got. And bro, maximizing that particular opportunity.
Yes. Yo, to touch back literally very quickly on real estate tip, like, people wonder why we've had like my team, why we've had success, and it's just like, yo, look at what we do. We obviously we used our own money, but the one thing I think we did that was truly genius is we networked across when we needed more money. Right? I literally say, yeah, we took the venture model. I'm taking the venture model. The venture model is raise a bunch of money, invest in a bunch of startups. The startups have an exit, pay back investors. Mm-hmm. All we've done the last few years is use the money that we have, but yo, do I got a friend that got 30,000? Right? I want to do more deals, right? The more deals that I could do, the more money that I can make. Yo, do I got a friend that got an extra 30? Got an extra 20? Yo, can my mother give me an extra 40? Right? And so because of that, all we did was network across. Now, that's different. We're not going to accredited investors. That person that got an extra 40 don't got an extra 200. Right. But they got an extra 40. Right. So they could put this 40 into this deal, this real estate project that's kind of like a startup, right? It's a project, right? They could put it in it. We can build it. We can sell it. We can give them their 40 back with their return.
With some interest, yeah.
With some interest. Yo, that's the venture model applied to real estate, right? So that's the one thing I feel like we did that a lot of other people.
Your battery's dying.
Battery's dying? Mm-hmm. All right. We got like 3 more topics.
Yeah, let's spin through. It's so many gems in there.
We were just talking about networking across, man, and just using what you, to your point, using what you have to make something happen and being resourceful.
Now, I think people don't realize how, of course, like, all right, it's easy to say networking across for us because we are class act guys that people worth networking across to are within our networks. Right. People get mad about networking across, or they don't understand networking across because you don't have anyone that you can network across to worth networking. Yeah. Like, that's the problem. We can all network across, but if you just haven't prioritized making or befriending individuals that are like doing things, then then you're only creating a headache for yourself trying to reach out to people that ain't doing nothing to work on things that don't exist.
Yeah, if you we said this, we was talking about this earlier, but if you LeBron in high school and your networking across is with Carmelo Anthony,
right,
it's just like, yo, I'm networking across.
Right,
it's good company to have, right?
Exactly.
So like for us, I feel like networking across is like, yo, I'm networking across with somebody who, in the future, I'm still going to be networking across with, right? It's just
and if we put it into musical terms, because a lot of times I see that's how our demographic, our culture really like takes in information through the pop cultural icons, right? When you look at Drake, Kendrick, all
Cole.
these Cole,
they all networked across.
They all were there at the same time incubating back in like 06, 05, 07.
So when they talk about the biggest artists in the culture, in the industry right now, they talk about Kendrick, Drake, and Cole.
Right.
But it's just like, yo, 10 years ago, Kendrick, Drake, and Cole were networking across. They all came into the game around the same time, right? So, yeah, you could, Issa Rae said that. She was like, yo, she's like, people always talk about networking up, but I could also just network across.
Yeah.
Right? It's easier that way.
Right.
Because a rising tide raises all ships, ultimately, right? We all trying to get to the same place, right? And everything happens, things happen by storm, right? When when enough people put enough pressure on something, things change, right? I look at the Philadelphia real estate market a lot, right? You got a ton of potential, a ton of developers up there, and all they doing is they all doing their own projects, but they networking across, right? So it makes the industry there look crazy. It's like, yo, what's happening in Philly,
right?
Right? Like, yo, it's crazy out there, but it's all the developers just networking across. They all doing projects, and they just getting with each other, making it happen. So, we could do that right here in this state.
Yo, we do a lot of, bro. We got a lot of interesting things we done spoke about. I got a few. All right, so we've reached the end of our pod, right?
Okay.
Which I'm gonna have a couple of different interesting topics to talk about.
Okay.
So I've known you for years, and I know your personality. I know like the type of person that world sees as Griff, and then I know Griff,
the
right?
real Griff,
and I know Big Griff, like you feel me? And I know like the gems, like the life gems that are given on so many different things that arise, right? From business to relationships to wealth and just experience, travel, being bougie, fine dining.
All that.
It's been a lot of that.
The good stuff.
The good stuff. Like surprisingly, like real talk, like you have exposed me to a lot of like you've really gotten me to understand like treating yourself, how you need to treat yourself.
Right.
Like you don't take that lightly.
Nah, I don't.
Like, you don't skimp.
Nah.
You don't skimp.
I don't skimp,
Word
man. I pay the way I want to play, man. So,
Word up.
I ain't with the skimping life.
I wanted this it's one thing that I always kind of like joke with you about is the Griff rules. Right? The Griff rules, for anybody that may or may that I mean you probably don't know, but to introduce the Griff rules are like a code of like hidden relationship and like dating, sort of like little gems and little hacks and tricks.
Yeah.
That it low key is kind of manipulative, but it's dope. It's low key dope. But it's the game, yo. Griff got the Griff rules, yo. Like what was one of the Griff rules that you giving me a couple? Yo, actually, what was the last time you mentioned that you had taken a date with a shorty on like you had like email, you had I think it was a while back.
Mm-hmm.
You told me that it was you had done what, like DoorDash her some food?
Oh yeah. That ain't crazy, but like, it was like for whatever reason we hadn't agreed to go out on an official date.
Right.
So I was like, all right, well, whatever. So what I'm gonna do is we can have a virtual date. We could.
Virtual date is OD.
Virtual date is OD.
Virtual
OD.
date is OD.
We can have a virtual date. We can set up the FaceTime or whatever video chat platform you want. I'm gonna make sure the food is there at a certain time. I'm gonna make sure the bottle is there at a certain time, and we just gonna have a date that way.
Yo, so you don't. So all right, here's another thing too. Like the Griff rules is, so you don't believe in Valentine's Day.
I don't. But I don't
believe in Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Nah, Big Griff does not for anybody. For anybody watching.
What's your thoughts on Valentine's Day?
Yo, I But here's the thing. I want to preface what I'm about to say with I actually don't really believe in a lot of American holidays. I feel like as Americans, we over celebrate. So we look for things. Like I saw something the other day, National Daughter Day and National Sunday. I was like, what is this?
Right.
Why is there a National Sunday? Like, or a National Daughter Day? What is this about? Right. So it's just like we as Americans, we always are looking for a reason to celebrate something. And so for me, I'm just like Valentine. I really just don't understand it. Ultimately, I'm just. And it also seems extremely one-sided. So I'm like, this day is about men, expressing their love for women and, buying gifts mostly. I don't get it. It's just like, yo, if you got a situation, if you with your shorty, whether it's your girlfriend, it's a girl you dating, and y'all really in it, then according to the Griff rules, Valentine's Day is frequent. Yeah, it's like you leading, you're kind of like stepping into it with your best foot, right? You're not skimping out on dates, right? You showing them a good time. You spending your time with, your lady the way, you would on Valentine's Day, right? It's the same.
Speaking about the Griff rules and thinking about being a Black Idea guy, we had an idea that was a while back called Rent a Bay. You remember Rent a Bay?
Yeah, I remember Rent a Bay.
Rent a Bay would save a lot of niggas' lives right now, yo. Real talk, Rent a Bay is OD.
Nah, it's max.
Like I think what was I think a log line to try to define Rent a Bay was like, all right, basically it's like,
Rent a Bay was kind of like a trumped up escort service, low key.
Yo,
like,
OD.
It might have been like an escort. It might have been illegal.
Rent a Bay, and I just need to make a disclaimer that any idea that's taken from this platform, we need 10%.
Right.
If y'all hear a name, if you hear some intellectual property,
I need. We coming for that 10.
We need that 10 because it's a lot of ideas. And yo, the crazy thing about it is, like I said this on a previous pod, it's like, yo, Black ideas matter.
Yeah.
Like, little do they know, right? And being in my background is in media and also sort of like media manipulation, understanding how to shape the stories around the things that you want people to see around what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, like having that access to, damn, I just lost my train of thought. Imagine that. How I lost my train of thought.
Damn,
this is what happens to Black Idea guys.
Nah, there's always so many ideas. So.
Yo, it definitely happens, bro. It definitely happens, yo.
But Rent a Bay was one of the, it was. But the Griff, it's crazy because the Griff rules, bro. I feel like if we could sum up there's really no summing up the Griff rules, but ultimately I feel like one of the common themes is not skimping.
It's not. That is it.
Yo, can we make sure we cut this clip? Can we make sure we cut this clip for the culture?
Cut
for the culture.
Drop it.
For my guys, don't skimp.
Don't skimp.
Right? Yeah. If you're going to take no matter how you met her, where you met her at, what you think about her, whatever you may think, don't skimp.
Facts.
And you shouldn't skimp because it's about you and what you like, not only what you want her to perceive you as.
Facts.
Right? Like when you take somebody out, you take a girl out. Like I tell you this all the time. Like, I take you to restaurants I like. Right? But I know me. Right? So if we in sync with the same type of taste, then you automatically gonna like the things that I like because of, we got similar tastes, right? I'm not gonna take you to no rundown spot, on a first or second date. I want to take you to places that I want you to like and I want you to be exposed to. So it's really just about ultimately like leading big, right? Like lead big.
Right.
And now be careful.
Be careful. Be careful.
Be careful.
Be careful. Dude, yo, OD. Be careful because you are swimming in uncharted territory.
You're swimming in uncharted waters, and that could lead to some things you might have not been anticipating.
Right.
But lead big, man. Own it. Lead big. And really, bring people into your world. Right. That's what you got to do ultimately. It's like, yo, because let's say it does go somewhere, right? You want that person to be comfortable in your world, whatever that world may be, right? Maybe you don't like fine dining. Like maybe you don't like, $400 dates, $500 dates and stuff like that, right? As a first date, right? Maybe you don't like that. But if that's your style,
Yeah.
you know, bring that person into that, right? You know, if you like,
if they're worth bringing into it.
yeah,
If they're worth bringing, I mean, because the thing is though, I mean, you've stated, I mean, okay, this is real. Like you stated, you treat every woman the same.
yeah, I do,
Right.
I do. And my historically for me dating, you know, I've never skimped.
Mm-hmm.
I've always dated the same way. So like, I don't look at a woman and be like, yeah, but XYZ, so I ain't gonna do that. I'm just like, yo, like, you know, it's really like I would, you know, I approach it like I would want somebody to approach my daughter. Like, if I had a daughter, right? Like, it's just like, you know, you like to eat, right?
Right.
You like eating good food. You like wine. You like, you like going on trips, right? Like, what do you like? What do you like? Like, and you know, I'm not looking at you a certain type of way and saying, oh well, because you ain't got a college degree or because you ain't this, I ain't gonna do that. Because if that's the case, we don't even got to go out in the first place.
Facts.
Right? We don't even got to. If I'm thinking about all of that, we don't even got to go out. But you know, I think it's best, you know, just to lead big, because if you do that, then you know, it leaves an impression, right? Maybe it doesn't work out, but it leaves an impression like, yo, Al, you know, one thing I like about Al is even though we didn't work out, you know, he always treated me a certain type of way. We went on 3 dates and that's all we went on.
Right.
But them 3 dates was better than any other dates I've been on, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
important, man. That's
Right.
important. So.
Yo, the Griff rules is something I think should be enshrined. And I think we need to really flesh
man.
that out as an idea.
We might need to flesh that out as a couple Medium articles or like an ebook.
It's a thing. I mean, you could sell it for like $5.99, like $10.99, and that'd be reoccurring online revenue, man.
Facts.
Reoccurring
We
online
gotta as men, we gotta step our shit up, man.
Yo, for real. Yo, normalize. Yo, bro, you told me this, right? You told me to normalize telling chicks you're not their type.
Yeah.
Like, normalize that. Like, make that a fact. Like, yo, you told me to normalize. Yo, telling chicks, like, yo, like, listen, respectfully, like,
Yeah, I'm not your type.
yo, baby, like, I know you like me and everything,
Yeah,
but
but
like,
I
yo,
ain't.
respectfully, I'm not your type.
I'm not. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like we gotta, you know, women. I mean, I hope this doesn't come off misogynistic or anything, but you know, women have standards. Respectfully, they should, right? And as men, we should have standards too.
Facts.
You know, and a lot of times we get slack for having standards.
Right.
But I'm a big proponent of telling somebody straight up, like, yo, like, I think you cool and all of that. Like, you great. Like, yo, you great, but I'm really not your type, beloved. Like, I'm not your type, baby. You know, like what you mean? Like, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm not your type.
Right.
You know.
So like, when she then asks, like, what do you mean you're not my type? Like, I like you.
Yeah, but I mean, that's cool. That's cool. But you know, we aligned differently, you know. And also, I know the type of dudes you date. Right, and like,
right, you're not about to switch it up. You're not about to use me to switch up your pattern.
Right. Like, you got a certain palate. You know, and that's okay.
Right.
You got a certain palate, but I don't fit in.
Unfortunately, right.
I don't, really fit into that.
Right.
So, I ain't your type, and it's cool, man. We got to be more comfortable saying that. We don't got to take everything that gets thrown at us. We got to be able to discern, what's kind of worth it. Especially, I mean, I ain't on no Kevin Samuel shit. I'm not.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm just saying in general, like, as men, you don't got to take everything, bro. And we got to normalize, owning who we are as people, owning our big energy, and saying when something ain't for us.
Yo, I agree. That's a learned trait though.
Yeah.
You gotta really know yourself in order to like know when to say no.
Yeah.
And like know what you're gonna put up with, what you're gonna tolerate, and what you're not gonna tolerate. Like
a
lot of times people don't understand that. They don't know that. They don't understand how important that is to like study yourself enough to know what's gonna fuel you or what's gonna take away from you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like That's a fact, yo. So
I feel like you've done a good job at that though.
Yeah.
Like studying yourself. Amy, we were just talking about that off air. Like, yo, like trying to learn yourself, that sort of introspection.
Yeah.
That's important, bro. That introspection. Because introspection taught me a lot about myself that I really didn't know. And it's also, it's much harder to be introspective and like sit quietly with yourself now than it was in the past. Because we got so many tools to not think, inwardly, right? Like we could get lost in social media for 2 hours, right? But like sitting down and saying like, yo, what's good with myself?
Right.
How does this situation make me feel? Why did I respond that way? Why do I think about these things in this way? What experiences have I had that forced me to be this way? That's all introspection, right? And like, we don't spend enough time doing that. And because of that, we're easily swayed. People can easily sway us. And, we got to break out of that.
I believe that the more things like social media, it forces you to like, you can sort of like over assess yourself. Because you can constantly be looking at what you're posting, or like you constantly looking at like your page. And I made a video a while back called Because of Social Media. And one of the things I said in it was, because of social media, people just observe themselves a lot more. Like people sometimes get sort of like paralyzed in self-assessment or like comparison, right? Trying to stack up what you're sharing in your universe to what you see someone that might be inspiring to you sharing, and how do you like try to align them. So now you try to go out into the world and do things that only mimic what you hope is the result that's going to land you to where someone is that inspires you. Yeah. Instead of just, again, using what you got, just playing your game, playing your race, and letting your universe shape into be its own like category. Yeah. Right? Like I think for me, I think a lot of, because again, someone that knew me as long as you've known me, that's seen my growth curve, could have been like, yo, this nigga's stubborn. Like he's hella stubborn. I'm telling him to do something. He's clearly not listening to me. He's doing what he wants. Yeah.
Well, we even have that kind of relationship, right? Where I feel like after the social scene maybe won, I was like, yo, Al.
OD. Yo, he was too. For real. He was too. He was like, yo, you gonna do another one?
Yeah. I was like,
it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I was like, yo, Al, you sure? I was like, you sure you want to do another one? But the thing is, you had your own vision, right? You got your own, and you had your own process. So for you was like, yeah, I'm gonna do another one, and then I'm done. I'm done. And I'm gonna do another one for these particular reasons, because I want to put this spin on it, because I want to try this, because I got this idea. And it's just like, yo, if it don't, whatever happens, happens. I'm gonna let the chips fall where they, how they fall. But I'm gonna go through my process. Right. And so like,
and I was totally okay with that.
And you was okay with that, right? You was okay. And I feel like I got to a point where I was just like, okay, cool. Right. I gotta accept that about my boy. Like he got his own process, and no matter what anybody tells him, he gonna stay his path. He gonna chart his path, and he gonna stay the course. Right. Right. And you'd be surprised. That's a quality that a lot of people don't have. A lot of people, somebody tell them like, yo, this shit ain't gonna work.
For real.
Yeah, right. Yo, and then
this shit ain't gonna work, bro.
I see what you doing. Shit ain't gonna work. that ain't it. That's a bad idea. And then they pack it up, right? Yeah. But as a founder, as a creative, you gotta own your process. Right. Where it's just like, yo, I hear what you're saying. I'm gonna try it anyway. Yeah. And if it don't work, cool. You just told me something that I had to learn. Right. But I'm not gonna let you force me into
discovering what could potentially happen, because
it's discovery, right? A lot of times, so being an artist is very synonymous with being a founder, right? It's the same. It's the same approach. As an artist, you're trying to discover, right? You're growing as a person. You're experiencing things. You're trying to discover something. If you're a visual artist, you're discovering, things about the world that you want to put on canvas, right? Mm-hmm. If you're, a musical artist, you're discovering things about yourself in the world that you want to put on wax. If you're a founder, you're discovering problems and new solutions that you want to put into companies.
Bro,
it's all discovery,
God,
though.
Bro.
It's all discovery, bro.
It's it. Like, it really is. And like, the thing is, though, it's about even having the curiosity to take that leap.
Right.
Into